thanks to Simply Safe for sponsoring this episode. After taking some time away from the cabin build, it feels good to be back. This week, I've set 3 goals for myself. First of all, to install the loft flooring, with a unique twist. Secondly, to harvest a small group of wind-blown cedars to use for the loft railings and ladder. Finally, I plan on returning to my father's childhood homestead to uncover and survey the century-old hand-dug well, which he grew up using. Who knows, maybe I can recover a small treasure of the past from its abandoned depths. But for now, the loft flooring is priority, so that's where I'll begin. I added 2 layers of boards with offset seams to strengthen the floor as it spans across the loft joists. Normally in this situation, I would counterbore the screws, hammer a wooden dowel into the hole, and sand it flush. However, this time, I wanted to do something a little bit different. Instead of using dowels to cap the screw heads, I decided to use pennies instead. Now, Canadian pennies have been out of production since 2013, but I managed to scrounge enough together to finish the loft and main floor as well. Now all I have to do is apply the finish. Originally, I considered applying an oil to the wood, but decided against it. Although an oil finish would have certainly preserved the wood, it offers little protection against tracked-in dirt, which would be ground into the grain over the years. I even briefly entertained the idea of using the yakisugi method, less accurately known as shosugi-ban, which roughly translates to burnt cedar, to preserve the flooring. However, yakisugi isn't ideal for interior flooring as it has a rough finish, which wouldn't feel very good on the feet. After carefully considering my options, I settled on using a polyurethane finish. I chose polyurethane because it provides a tough, waterproof surface, blocking dirt and moisture from entering the grain. Plus, it stands up well to scuffs and scratches, not only preserving the wood, but protecting it as well. After applying the final coat, I left it to cure, and I'm really excited to show you the results. But real quick, I'd like to thank SimpliSafe for sponsoring this episode. I've been using SimpliSafe for years now, and I really appreciate the peace of mind that it offers, especially while I'm away from home, because I can use the SimpliSafe app to check in with the cameras, inside and outside, to make sure the home is all right. Plus, I've got lots of sensors that will let me know right away if anything is amiss. For example, I've got a smoke alarm and carbon monoxide detector that will notify me right away if it detects anything. As well, I've got a water sensor down in the utility room, so that will let me know right away if it detects a leak or a flood in the basement, which is a huge peace of mind for me, because I think my greatest fear with being away from home is that there will be a leak or flood in the basement. But now I don't have to worry about that anymore because the sensors will tell me, and again, I can check in with the cameras. I've also got entry sensors on every door, a free sensor on the basement pipes, and a motion sensor. As for the setup, I found it to be extremely easy and intuitive. Once I built my kit online and it was delivered to my door, I had it up and running in no time at all. And what I really like about the SimpliSafe system is that you can add sensors to it as time goes on to suit your needs and your home. Save 20% on your SimpliSafe security system when you sign up for an interactive monitoring plan and get your first month free. Visit simplisafe.com/theoutsider. Well, I applied the third and final coating of Varathane on the loft flooring yesterday, and I let it cure overnight, and today it looks great. I love it. I love everything about the way that this flooring turned out. I'm glad that I went with wider boards because it matches well with the character of this cabin. I'm glad that I went with a satin finish because it leaves the boards with a little bit of a sheen, but not too much, in my opinion. But the thing that I love most about this flooring is the penny inlays. They're just something unique that I've never seen done before. It's my own personal signature on this flooring, and that's something that my dad and I have always made our priority as we're working on this cabin, that whatever we build, we want to leave our own personal touch on it, our own personal signature which reflects our personality, our craftsmanship. We want this to look like our cabin. But I love the warmer tones of the copper. I believe it matches really well with the warmer wood tones of the rest of the cabin. And from a distance, you might not even notice that they're pennies at all. You might just think that they're darker colored dowels which have been put over the countersunk holes of the screws. But upon closer inspection, you'll see that they are in fact pennies. So that's a detail that I really enjoy about these penny inlays, is that the closer you look, the more unique and special it'll become. So anyway, now that this is all figured out, I'm going to go outside and start to look for uniquely shaped pieces of wood which I'll use for the loft railings and the loft ladder. And I've got a couple of other ideas that I want to discuss with you and get your opinion on them. But anyway, I'll take you downstairs and I'll show you what I mean. It's beautiful, isn't it? I found this wheel about a week ago in the rubble of an old barn foundation while I was exploring my father's childhood homestead. Oh, oh my goodness, look at this. Wow. This is not only special to me because it's an antique and because it's rare and it'll look great in the cabin, but this is special to me because it's a connection to my father. So I want to put this in a prominent place in the cabin. When I look at it, it can remind me of him and his legacy, not only in my life, but also in the construction of the cabin build. So I put out a post on Instagram and I asked all of you guys where I could use this best in the cabin. Where would it be best displayed? And I had lots of great suggestions from all of you. Some of you suggested putting it up in the gable and displaying it. Others said I could maybe make a stained glass window out of it. Others said I could hang it from the ceiling in the kitchen area, and so I can use it to hang pots and pans from, which is something that I really liked. As well, a lot of people said it would be great to have as a chandelier, which I really agree with. Whether I use mason jar lights that hang from it, or some kind of candles or lanterns or whatever, it'll look amazing as a chandelier. I mean, it's huge as well, so that would lend well to it being a chandelier. I had someone else suggesting cutting it into quarters and making it staircase railings to go into the cabin at the front and at the back. Another person said that I could incorporate it into the railing up in the loft and put it central. So at this point, I'm still deciding what I want to do with this wheel, but I think I'm either going to make it into a chandelier or I'm going to incorporate it into the railing of the loft. So I'll take it inside and we'll see how it looks in a couple different spots. Well, I dropped the 2 cedars and I'm really excited to get them back to the cabin site. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm thinking about using them as ladder railings heading up into the loft, or maybe for loft railings, so we'll just have to see. But for now, I'm going to leave them at full length because I want to bring them back to the cabin site and take proper measurements before I cut them. These are really unique pieces of wood and I want to make sure that I do not waste them. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to take them back to the cabin with the ATV, just because it's going to be like dragging 2 giant fish hooks through the forest. So I think I'll wait until I bring the tractor back this way to pick them up, because I can use the boom pole to lift them up from the ground a little bit and keep them out of the mud, and I'll bring them back to the cabin with that, and I'll peel them and do my measurements then. Anyway, I'm going to show you the root system here, or the stump from the cluster that has fallen over, and that's what I cut the 2 trees out of. These roots have been exposed for, it looks like, years now, and I think this whole cluster of cedars was blown over probably in a heavy windstorm, or it fell under a heavy snow load. But you'll see that there are 4 cedars, the smaller ones, which have already died probably years ago as well. Now the 2 trees that I've cut were still alive, which is good because that means they're easy to peel and the wood is still of good quality. But they look reminiscent of woolly mammoth tusks, don't they? They're really interesting. But anyway, at this point, I'm going to jump on the ATV and head back to the old homestead, where I'm going to check out the century-old well. I'm going to put a camera down inside with a flashlight and just see what I can discover near the bottom. And the great thing about my GoPro camera is it's waterproof as well, so I might even be able to put it underwater to see what's down there. Now, I'm sure no one has ever done that since the technology didn't exist to really look inside of it until now. But if it looks interesting enough, I might return on a later date with maybe a big magnet, see if I can pull some old coins or some old pieces of metal up from the well. You just never know what's fallen inside over the years, so that's what's really exciting to me. Just the prospect of discovering some old forgotten history in the bottom of this well. MacGyver would be proud. By the way, I'm using my special edition Outsider flashlight for this. If you'd like to check it out, the link is in the description. I can only marvel at the sheer skill, strength, and bravery that went into the making of this well. Every fieldstone placed and inch of dirt taken was accomplished by hand, using nothing more than a shovel, rope, and bucket. Once beneath the water's surface, I was surprised at how much deeper the well went. Deep enough that the beam of my flashlight was yet to reveal the bottom. Modern-day wells go much deeper, of course, but keep in mind that this one was hand-dug. meaning that the man who carved out its claustrophobic depths once stood somewhere down there at the very bottom, after which he would have been hoisted from the well as the water filled in behind him. I was eager to see the bottom for myself, but I began to doubt the adhesive which held my camera mount in place, so I decided to pull it back up, just to check on it. Good thing I did, because as soon as I pulled the GoPro from the well, it fell off. Not wanting to press my luck any further, I decided to leave my exploration for another day. However, I will return, not only with a better camera rig and a strong magnet, but also with some lumber to build a better base over the well. Cedar trees or mammoth tusks. In this case, it's hard to tell the difference. That's it for now. Until next time, my friends, stay safe, be well, and God bless.